Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to revisit the iPad Pro from 2018. So we are going to revisit this iPad Pro from 2018 and how does it fare in 2023. So this is the 11-inch iPad Pro which I have, and this has the A12x Bionic inside with 4 GB of RAM. And so today we are going to take a look at how does this iPad Pro for 2018 compared to date. Starting with the design, this was the first iPad Pro which Apple released, which has shorter bezels around the corner and has an end-to-end display, and it is very slim at all the sides. So as you can see, this has quad speakers on all the sides, volume buttons on left, power unlock and lock button on top with the microphone, and the left side is left clean. And towards the back we have the 3 magnetic ports which are used for accessories, and then we have a single 12 megapixel camera at the back. So this was a pretty old design in 2023, like the iPad Air from 2022 also has the same design with aluminium frame on the back. So this iPad has an Face ID on the front, so it doesn't have any fingerprint scanner on the top like the iPad Air from 2022. So this was the first iPad which had an Face ID which was inbuilt. So now coming over to the display, this has a liquid retina display. So it was a fashionable name at that time, but it has an ProMotion, so it actually refreshes at 120 Hz. So it is a very smooth iPad to use, and the display is not OLED. So this is an IPS LCD screen, but it is pretty sharp as you can see. So you cannot notice any pixel or anything on this display. It is great to watch media on this device. So it is a pretty good display, and it has a pixel density of 265 pixels per inch. So it is reasonable for a tablet of this size. So it has a peak brightness of 600 nits. So that is actually fine for an iPad, as it will be used only indoors for use. And it does have all the latest features such as True Tone, Night Shift or Dark Mode. And this display is actually fully laminated, so you cannot actually notice the gap between the screen and the actual LCD. It's actually a very good screen to look at. So now coming over to the performance, so this iPad Pro from 2018 has the A12x Bionic chip with 4 GB of RAM. So this was the A series variant of the iPad. Nowadays we have M series, but the performance of this phone after 5 years is just awesome, I would say. There is no need to buy M1 or M2 iPad Pro variant. The performance on this iPad is that great. If you use multiple apps and even if you do multitasking, then also this iPad is pretty smooth. As you can see, it is a very fluid iPad to use every day, and you can easily edit videos on this. So as you can see, there is no lag on this iPad. It works pretty smooth overall, and there is no problem when it comes to performance. As you can see, I have many apps on this iPad, and you might feel that 4 GB of RAM is pretty low when it comes to 2023 standards, but as this runs on iPad OS, it is very efficient. So 4 GB of RAM, you can easily multitask on this iPad. Coming over to the GPU, this has an Apple inbuilt 7-core graphics, so you can easily play all these high-end games on this iPad without any breeze. So this is a very good performing iPad Pro even in 2023. So the storage variant which I have on this iPad is the 64 GB model. It was a mistake which I made while buying this iPad. So 64 GB when it comes to 2023 standards is not that enough. So I have to occasionally clean storage on this device. It comes full very faster. Like even if I edit one video on iMovie, the storage almost becomes full. So that was one of my mistakes which I made while buying this iPad. And if you're going to buy any iPad, do keep in mind that these iPads last a very long time. So do buy an higher storage variant. Now coming over to the software, this iPad runs on the latest iOS 16.3.1. So this iPad is still supported, though it is a very old iPad Pro from 2018. It runs on the latest iOS 16.3.1, and I guess it will still receive iOS 17 and 18, as the hardware on this iPad is pretty good and you can easily multitask on this device. This iPad also supports Stage Manager, as you can see. So you can actually open multiple apps on this iPad. So as you can see, it does support Stage Manager and it runs pretty smoothly, even though it has only 4 GB of RAM. So as you can see, it can easily multitask even though it has less RAM. So actually Apple told that this Stage Manager is only coming to M1 and M2 iPad, but it is also available on this 5-year-old A12x Bionic. So this says that the hardware is still capable on this iPad. So personally, I use this iPad for watching movies, reading newspapers and editing videos on iMovie. So for my day-to-day use, this iPad is more than enough for me and it runs pretty brilliantly on this. Now coming over to the camera on the back, this one has a 12 megapixel single camera on the back with mic and LED flash. So this is a 12 megapixel f1.8 camera with dual tone flash, and this supports up to 4K at 60 fps video recording, and it is a pretty decent camera for scanning document and all, so you can pretty easily scan documents with this. And the front camera on this iPad is a 7 megapixel camera with f2.2 aperture, and this camera is not the wide angle camera which Apple has included in the latest iPad, which has center stage and all. So this iPad does not support center stage because it does not have that capable camera. So this is a pretty basic selfie camera. It supports up to only 1080 at 30 fps, so it does not support resolution. So the iPad variant which I have is the only Wi-Fi model, so this does not have a SIM slot, and it supports Bluetooth 5.0, and it does have a Type-C port at the bottom. So as you can see, it is a Type-C 3.1 port. So this was the first iPad that Apple released which had an Type-C port at the bottom, and it also has a quad speaker setup. So it has 2 speakers on the top and 2 speakers at the bottom. So let us hear the speaker quality on this iPad. So let's just open up YouTube and a no copyright song. Let's just listen to a no copyright song and you guys tell how is the speaker quality on this iPad. So that was the speaker quality on this iPad, and personally the speakers are very loud and clear and bassy on this iPad. So actually it has better speakers than my Windows laptop. So that is the quality on the speakers on this iPad. Now coming over to the battery life of this iPad. This iPad has a non-removable 7812 milliampere battery, and the battery life on this iPad for me is very good. It can easily last me 3 to 4 days on a single charge, as this is an Wi-Fi only variant, so that might be the reason why this is a better battery life. But as you can see, I hardly use 25% of the battery on this iPad. It gives me a pretty good battery life. As you can see, I mainly use this iPad for movie editing, watching content and editing videos, etc. So the battery life for me is very good on this iPad. Now actually there is no inbuilt software to check battery health on this iPad, but I do have a shortcut by which you can actually check battery health on the iPad. So let me show you how to check battery health on this iPad. So the first step which you want to do is to go into privacy and security, and then into analytics and improvement, and make sure that share iPad analytics is turned on. Now go into analytics data and take the most latest analytics, and if I just click on battery stats, which is a shortcut, so as you can see the battery health on this iPad is 91% after using almost 5 years. So if you want this shortcut, then do let me know in the comment section below. I will try to post it there, this shortcut, and you can actually check battery health with the help of this shortcut. So after 4 years, 90% is pretty good battery health for this iPad. So the accessories which I have along with this iPad are my Apple Pencil. So this is the Apple Pencil which I have brought back in 2018, and this Apple Pencil, particularly this iPad, does not support the Apple Pencil hover feature. So that was the latest feature which was launched along with the iPad Pro M2 chip. So that feature is not supported. I think that is a hardware based feature, so that's why it is not supported. And the Apple Pencil along with this iPad works just amazing. I mostly use this pencil for taking notes, etc. So this comes out to be pretty handy, and it is a pretty responsive Apple Pencil, as you can see. Due to along with this Apple Pencil, I also use the folio cover which came back in 2018. So this is the cover which this iPad supports actually. So this is not actually the iPad cover, it just actually magnetically sticks, and then you can actually type on this iPad. And the keyboard feedback on this iPad is just okay. Due to the slim size, there is actually no tactile feedback, but it does the job, and it can actually open in two parts, like first is this and the second is this. So it is a pretty handy case, though it is costly for this iPad, and I've been using this case since 2018, and you can see it is scuffed up from the outside, but it does the job of protecting this iPad. And I do like the combination of this Apple Pencil with the iPad, and along with my other Apple products, they just sync up pretty well in this ecosystem. In conclusion, I would like to say that this iPad is pretty powerful and it performs well in 2023. You can easily multitask on this iPad. So that's it from my side, guys. Do let me know you use and how do you feel about this iPad. Thank you.